Hey guys, if somebody told me at the screening of Breath of Life at AFRIF back in November that I'd one day get to interview the stars of this breathtaking new film, I would have said that that person was crazy. But that actually happened. I recently got to sit down with the stars of Breath of Life, Wale Ojo, Eku Edewor, Chimezie Imo, Genoveva Umeh, and even the director of the film, Sasore, and we talked about what it was like for them to make this amazing film and what you guys can expect when you see it. Before we dive into the interviews, I should let you know that Breath of Life is a story about a preacher who turns his back on the world essentially when a tragic event happens in his life, but when a young man comes into his environment or into his space, he kind of finds purpose to life once again. It's a nice drama. It's now streaming on Prime Video, by the way, so be sure to check it out. But for now, here's my interview with the stars and the director of Breath of Life.
Timmy in this film, Timmy Johnson, is used to be a pastor. He used to be an excellent pastor, right? He's a Cambridge-educated gentleman, and he married a lovely wife, have a daughter, who they brought up fantastically, and then they came to a little small town, like in Nigeria. And then after a while, this young man named Elijah, played by Chimezie Imo, comes into his life and slowly brings him out. After many efforts, slowly brings him out of that solitude, out of that pain, out of that very, very deep depression. And Elijah, the character, who comes and says, "Listen, sir, I want to be a houseboy, in your household," really becomes more like a house manager, and he becomes more like a manager of the soul. For Timmy.
I played Elijah. Elijah is the orphan boy who has found his purpose in serving others, by being a pastor, and he comes into a new town in search of a job, and there is an opening for a houseboy at Mr. Timmy's house, and unknowingly to him, he sort of brings purpose to Mr. Timmy.
So I play Bridget Johnson in the movie Breath of Life. I describe her as a light. That's what she comes to the film to be. She comes to be a light and to be extinguished. And she really is just that. She loves her family, she loves her husband, she loves the community, she loves her child, and she loves to give. She loves being part of the community that she's in and is very content. She's a kept woman, I guess.
I had to come back to say that Genoveva Umeh's character in this film, Breath of Life, was the most interesting character in the movie for me. Anna was a very fiery character, and while I was talking to Genoveva Umeh, I think I changed course of the interview just a little bit to ask Genoveva what she thought about her character Anna, and here's what she had to say.
I think that she has a mind of her own, I think that she's charismatic and purposeful. She wants to solve problems, and I think that in a space where she could have chosen to just, I guess, not have an opinion, to not see people, because she volunteers at a hospital, in a space where she could have just coasted on her parents' money and privilege. Yeah, had an easy life. She decided to, to pay attention to what's important to community, and she pays attention to Elijah, to ensuring that he fulfills purpose, and in turn finding purpose within their relationship. I think that's beautiful, right? And I hope that women everywhere see that and emulate that, to a certain degree, for sure.
I think all of the above. Working with Sasore was first time. It was very interesting, refreshingly different. I think he's very different from other Nollywood directors that I've worked with. The production design was really on top. It was managed by, the movie was produced by Eku Edewor, but the production design, she really put her own touch to it, and that gives you more sense of the character, especially of the period you know, that we're in. And then, I mean, the cast, the supporting cast was great. You know, Genoveva, Chimezie Imo played Elijah, even through to the church scenes with great actresses like Tina Mba, you know, there was Sam Dede, you know, there's Bimbo Manuel who played my lawyer, excellent actor. And, you know, so there was great support and also great camaraderie with the crew, which is very, very helpful, you know. So I always find that each set is different, but there's something that particularly you can pick out of each production and say, okay, it was the production design, it was the sound, but for this it was a combination of a lot of this stuff, yeah.
I guess the most unique thing for me, or the most different thing, was that we were working on a period piece. Bibi and I have been creative collaborators now for about 5 years. So coming to the production was very comfortable because we sort of learned each other's strengths and we know how to work with each other, where we get the best out of each other. So Bibi is someone that thinks very large and wants to, you know, he wants Downton Abbey, and I'm like, we're gonna get Milton Abbey maybe, you know. So it's sort of my job to deliver on the creative, but in a believable way that for the script and for the budget that we're working in.
It was my first time working with Bibi. I've been a fan of his work, and I remember even doing an audition, I didn't know he was the one, but I knew that name, but there was no face to the name. So until he called me and said, "Yo, you're getting the job," I was like, "What job?" "This is Bibi Sasore." "Oh my God, Bibi, what job? You came for audition?" "What audition?" Because I didn't know it was him until he told me what I played. I'm like, oh my God. You know, so it was the first time working with him, and he hired a bunch of professionals, you know. And I mean, this is no offense to, I mean, it's expensive hiring a bunch of professionals to a film set, but this was different because I didn't have to think about a lot of things, and us actors in this part of the world, we get to think about a lot of things outside our job as actors, but I didn't really get to do that. Uzomaka Anuno, my very good friend, after watching the film at AFRIF, she said something. He said the production team cared for their actors, and she could see that in the film. You know, it was, you know, a bunch of professionals on sets. There was heart and soul in the story. I mean, it's funny, people are praising right now. I mean, the trailer is how people are commending the trailer. Oh, it looks good, it looks good. The story is dope. I'm not even talking about the set, like the story is dope. I remember reading the screenplay for the first time and I shed a tear. And I was like, I thought I was being overly dramatic. And people saw the film at AFRIF and everyone is bawling in the hall. People are crying. I'm like, okay, I wasn't mad to have cried when I read this thing, you know. So yeah, I think that is where I think Breath of Life stands out.
I think what Nemja and Eku, our producer, have done, especially, you know, Bibi Sasore, the writer and director, I think what they've done is had like a keen eye to detail on the story. I think the story is solid in that it explores what it means to have a lot of love and to have a lot of heart and to have meaning, and you know, there's a lot of relatable content. You know, relatable themes, for example, love, friendship, family, community, and I think that's what makes this film so special. It was also shot in an interesting location in Ibadan, with like, you know, such a keen eye for like detail in like locations, and I guess in terms of costume and styling, it was so very intentional, and everybody, like every cast member, is consequential to the story. There are no characters that don't add to anything, like everything has meaning, and I think that's what's really, really special about this film. Yeah.
I think they're going to see it as a faith-based film, which it is, but it's much more than just a film that's saying to you, you know, go to church. It's not a film that's actually saying go to church. It's a film that's saying go to God, the God within, you know, the God within yourself, you know, the God within your own soul, and to connect, you know, we're at an age now where there's a lot of apathy, you know, tired of the situation in the country, You know, things are still happening. There's injustice across the world. You know, so it's very, very easy to disbelieve in divinity. You know, very easy. What the film is saying, really, in essence, is that keep believing in the breath of life.
Breath of Life is a very symbolic film. So it's hard for me to say right now what I think they should take, because what I read from the script, what I got when I read the script, when I shot the film, is not what I got when I watched the film. I saw this film and there's so much more. And I'm sure when I see it the second time, there will be so much more to take. There's kudos to the writer, Bibi. Bibi puts a lot of symbolic things that when you watch it, you will code. You know, there's so many symbolic stuff in the film, and I think different people would take different things from this film. It's not a religious film. It's not a Christian film. You know, he would always tell you, I don't make faith-based. I don't know why people think I make, but I'm like, baby, you do. It's like I don't intend to. You know, it's just a film for every human. There's so much humanity in the film, so much heart and so much soul. So I don't want to tell people you're going to say this, you're going to say this. I want people to watch and take what they take.
I think I want the audience to know that hope is never lost. I think that's the one message that I got from the film, because no matter how much challenges you experience in your daily lives, you're always going to experience challenges, but just picking yourself back up and trying again is always a good way to find purpose, because we experience love, we experience losing love, and we experience feeling lost and then finding love again. And that's what Breath of Life in terms of storytelling encompasses. So yeah, they never lose hope, because there's always a purpose for every season in your life. Yeah.
I want them to take two things away. One, what is the purpose of it all? What are we all here sort of doing, right? That's my deep sort of, my partner and I, Darren, we have these conversations all the time. Like, what is it for? Are we really making impact? Are we really, so that purpose. And then second thing is, I want them to be proud of Nigerian cinema, right? We made it a small film on purpose, but you love Scent of a Woman, beautiful, simple story. I think that's the level we need to be at in Nollywood, right? Where your simple stories can be watched anywhere in the world. They can be as, on par production-wise, the same way our music is. That's where we need to get to. Then the bigger stuff will come. But I want a pride in Nigerian cinema, and I want you to wonder about the purpose of it all.